On September 8, 2002, on Mount Everest, Marco Siffredi, a highly skilled snowboarder and lover of the wild, mysteriously vanished into thin air. He had tried to snowboard down the Hornbein Couloir, something he had done 2 times before. However, the perpetually snow-covered mountain hid the secrets of his unseen fall into the unknown. Fellow snowboarders saw someone standing and sliding down the mountain and thought it was Marco since there was no one else there at the time. However, after several search and rescue operations were sent out, his body was never found. His disappearance led to many guesses, all filled with doubts and unanswered questions about his untold story. Was it the rough ground, a sudden fall of snow, or the dangerous cuts in the mountain that took him? Is he actually dead, or is Marco still out there, living his life among the mountains? This is the sad and mysterious story of Marco Siffredi, a man whose last journey is still shrouded in mystery. Born on May 22, 1979, in Chamonix, France, a place known as the starting point of mountain climbing, Marco was fascinated by the mountains right from his early days. He came from a family very close to mountain climbing. His father, an experienced mountain guide, introduced Marco to the sound of the winds and the rustling of the pine trees as a child. But it wasn't just the charming mountains that formed Marco's early years. Losing his older brother, Pierre, to a snowslide in Chamonix was a deep tragedy that reached his soul, showing him what the mountains could take away. The mountains were both a fun place and a learning place, the tops and valleys strengthening his will and increasing his growing love for snowboarding. Chamonix, being important in the mountain climbing world, was the nurturing place for Marco's dreams, increasing his love for unknown lands and unclimbed tops. Marco's commitment and endless desire to learn about snowboarding showed his adventurous heart and strong will, things taught by his father, Philippe, who often went with young Marco to the center of the Mont Blanc Alps. It was here that Marco, interested in his friends trying the most daring snowboarding paths, started showing a desire to imitate and exceed their achievements.
Moi, c'est comme le ski. Ça part du moment où t'as plus le droit à l'erreur.
In his early days, Marco did a lot of important first runs in the Chamonix Valley. He didn't just follow others, he made his own paths, driven by a love for adventure and his passion. In June 1999, he did something worth noting by going down Mont Blanc on the Aiguille Verte. This came 10 years after Jean-Marc Boivin's first ski run, showing similarities between 2 legends in their fields. Marco's trip to Everest was both happy and filled with disagreements. In May 2001, Marco stood on the top of Everest using oxygen and with the help of 2 Sherpas who carried the equipment. He had to face an unexpected lack of snow in the Hornbein Couloir, which he thought of as very important for snowboarding. This unexpected problem caused him to change plans and choose the Norton Couloir as his way back. His run was stopped for a short time when a snowboard strap broke due to the cold. With the Sherpa's help, Marco fixed the problem and continued his run to 6,400 meters within 2 hours. The day before Marco's run, Austrian climber Stefan Gatt went to the summit alone without oxygen. Gatt also started to snowboard up the north wall to 8,600 meters, but decided to stop snowboarding due to harsh conditions. This caused arguments over who really made the first snowboard descent of Everest. While Gatt was first to the summit, he didn't use a snowboard for a big part of the run. Different people have different opinions, making the record unclear. This time in Marco's life was full of disagreements and hopes that shaped his goals, leading to bigger challenges. Marco's trips on Everest were not just about reaching the top, but about showing his passion and dreams on the snow, dealing with nature's changes, and accepting the surprises of the trip. August 2002. Marco left for Nepal with a big goal. He wanted to be the first person to snowboard down Everest on a specific route, called the Hornbein Couloir. It was pretty late in the Everest climbing season, but Marco was hopeful because he thought this route would have more snow. So on August 10th, Marco started his journey from a city called Kathmandu. He had 3 Sherpa friends with him, Furba, Pa Nuru, and Da Tenzing. The men were all mountain experts, and they were there to aid Marco along the way, as well as indulge in some exploration of their own. By August 14th, they set up their base camp in Tibet. Fast forward to September 7th, Marco and his friends reached a really high point on the mountain. The very next day, on September 8th, 2002, they reached the top of Everest at around 2:10 in the afternoon. But according to Furba, Marco didn't seem too happy. He just said he was really tired and there was too much climbing. The weather started to rapidly change. Marco's Sherpa friends were worried and told him not to go down the mountain. But Marco, after resting for just an hour, decided to go ahead anyway. He started snowboarding down the Hornbein route a little after 3 in the afternoon. His friends would lose sight of him from time to time. As Siffredi Siffredi disappeared down the slopes, the Sherpas hurried to get back down to base camp, anxious to beat the storm. After descending roughly 4,000 feet in the opposite direction that Siffredi had gone, they broke through cloud cover and were able to see the mountain paths below them. To their surprise, a lone figure was perched on the slopes about 1,000 feet below them. They saw him stand up and slide silently down the mountain. The Sherpas maintained that they were 100% certain no one else was on the mountain with them, but all three are confident they saw the man snowboarding down. When they arrived at the place they'd seen him, the snow was smooth. There were no tracks. Instantly, the Sherpas feared the worst, that the man they'd seen had been an apparition, and that Siffredi was dead. As they reached base camp, their fears were confirmed. Siffredi had not returned from his snowboarding trip and his body hadn't been seen. Marco didn't come back, and the search found nothing. This created a lasting mystery about what happened to him. Marco's disappearance has stirred up a lot of theories and guesses, making a deep and lasting mystery about what happened to him. The many theories thought up are all different and confusing, each one trying to solve the mystery surrounding his assumed death. Some guess that an avalanche, a common danger on such risky lands, might have taken Marco away without the Sherpas knowing. This guess became a bit popular given the sudden weather changes Marco and the Sherpas saw, with storm clouds gathering below them in a threatening way. Others guessed Marco might have met his end by falling into a crevasse, a deep open crack that could be invisible to someone who isn't expecting it, due to poor visibility or being covered by snow, especially since it was already night when he started to go down. Marco's choice to go ahead without enough oxygen and very few essentials in his bag made people guess more, with some thinking he might have fallen and never had a chance to get up again. However, among all the guesses, there was a bit of hope offered by Marco's sister, who held a more hopeful theory. She kept believing that her brother was still alive, living in the mountains he loved so much. In her mind, Marco, fascinated by the majestic beauty and wilderness of the mountains, had chosen to stay, exploring the peaks and forever climbing his holy grail, living with yak herders in Tibet. This theory, although it seemed emotional and very unlikely, showed the hope and desire of a sister for her missing brother. While Marco is yet to be found and his body yet to be seen, tributes and memorials have been plentiful. Marco's journey, though tragic, has served as an enduring source of inspiration for many, exemplifying the unyielding human spirit's quest for the unknown. His contributions to the world of extreme sports have revolutionized the way we perceive limits and possibilities. Marco will be forever remembered as a daring innovator and a restless soul whose love for the mountains transcended life itself. The mountaineering community continues to honor Marco's memory, reflecting on his remarkable life and the profound influence he had on the sport. His zest for life and boundless enthusiasm for the mountains serve as a lasting reminder to embrace every adventure with an open heart and unyielding spirit. If you enjoyed this video, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below.